Is right start on Thursday morning, starting your day with a smile. Brand new program, Family Matters, and we have the family expert here, Dr. Shane O'Connor. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Dwayne. It's a pleasure being here.
Uh, Pastor O'Connor, this is one. Well, I call it Pastor O'Connor. I call it Dr. O'Connor.
I wear many
Mr.
hats.
O'Connor. We have for years, and I'm sure you grew up very close to my time, either before or after.
I think I may grow up.
But we grew up knowing family to be Mr. Doe and Mrs. Doe and children.
Right.
Part and sometimes 6 children, sometimes 12 children,
Yep.
9 children, and that is
Back
family.
in the days.
Back in the days.
Yes. Sure.
When there was not a lot of entertainment, but
Yep.
just making children. But we have seen where family has changed so much. Like in especially now, the definition for family has changed to many different variables. You want to tell us about that?
That's correct. That you're perfectly right. Most of us grew up with the concept of what we call a nuclear family. Right?
Yes.
And so that is basically a husband and wife, and their biological children.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they adopt a child,
Yes,
be
yes.
considered the nuclear family.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are different types of family, because beyond that you may have what is called the extended family.
Yes.
And there were some of that also in the days when we usually grew up.
Yes, but we just didn't we didn't categorize.
We didn't
them.
categorize that. Yeah, we didn't formalize it and
Yes,
give it a
yes,
name.
yes.
As like an extended family. So the extended family is where other family members become part of that household,
Yes,
like an
yes.
aunt or an uncle or a
Yeah,
grandma
yes,
or grandpa.
yes.
So anything beyond the husband and wife and their biological children or their
Yes,
adopted
yeah.
children, any family members living beyond that is
Mhm.
now categorized as the extended family. So your
Yeah.
extended family is a little larger than your nuclear family.
Yes.
So in many rural areas, and sometimes in the cities areas, but
Yeah.
also mostly in rural areas, many of those families are extended family members.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you have other types of family which we call the blended family. So the blended family are now where consist of individuals who had a family before,
Mhm.
but they got divorced, and so they start a new family. They bring over their children into this new family. So you have like stepchildren coming over into this family, making a new family. So sometimes you have two sets, right? So you have the husband from one and the wife who have been married before in
Yes.
prior marriages.
Mhm.
They have their sets of children and they bring them over into a new family. So that's what they refer to as the blended family.
Mhm.
And so the family goes, different versions of the family go
Yes.
goes on and on and on. But yeah, that's the nature of the family that we tend to grow up with. And of course, you have single persons who don't have a wife and don't have any husband. Sometimes they have a child by themselves, a single parent
Yes,
family.
yes.
We have many of those happening here in the Cayman Islands. So quite a different versions of the family.
I would also think that you have families who don't live together. For example, there are people who hang out on a regular
Basis, yes.
and they share common interests.
Yes.
They check up on each other like every single day. Sometimes even closer than biological.
That's correct.
families.
And for example, people who drink, for example, in the
Yeah.
bars, right?
Brother love.
It's amazing, right?
Yes, yes.
People who drink at the bars, they have such a family connection. We
Yes.
usually call it brotherly love.
Yeah, yes.
That people, and sometimes they really experience a warmer reception, a more reliable source of care.
Yes.
If they're missing from the bar one evening,
Yes.
they get a friend to call and say, "Man, we haven't seen you. What's happening?" So So people will refer to them as their family, right? Even on a negative perspective, people in gangs consider themselves as family also. People on a football team, for example, consider themselves as family because they are connected, they are supported, they are helped, they are loved. And so that those attributes for family, they experience in those areas, in those settings, and so they refer to them as family.
And I would suggest that God made human beings like so. We're not islands by ourselves.
Yes, and that is fundamental. I'm happy you raised that point. If we were to go back to how family started, right? I was sharing this with somebody yesterday. It is fascinating that when God was creating planet Earth, He
designed it for family.
He designed it for family. And by the way, not just human beings. Everything. And every species of animals, birds, fishes were made male and female, right? That's the core. That's the epicenter of the family, right? The family starts with a male and a female, right? Insects, birds, species, human being. So God intended that we all live within a family circle. God designed us as what we call social beings.
Pastor Connor, have you realized that even as the world develops technology, everything is patterned of family? Look at the door lock. Look at plugs, female, male.
That is
every single thing.
That is correct.
Every single thing is pattern of
that design.
The design.
Yes. That divine design. And to the point that you made earlier, just in case anybody disagrees with what we're talking about, being God designed us as social beings and designed us to be in a family, God not just designed and left it there, but God spoke to the matter to say it is not good.
Yes.
All right. Just in case anybody missed that, God said, "Oh, if you missed the design, I want to speak it to let you know
it is not good.
It is not good." And it was not good in Genesis, and it's still not good in Revelation.
Still not good. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be back with we have other guests joining us shortly.
Strike Zone House of Fun, Grand Cayman's only laser tag arena, invites everyone to an unforgettable experience where the entire family can enjoy alcohol-free, fun-filled time. Let Strike Zone House of Fun host your next birthday party, corporate event, fundraiser, church, school, and social events. We are located in Cannon Place, North Sound Road, units 224 to 227. Join our global membership program, create your own game ID, and earn bonus points as we get ready for league and challenges. For more information, visit our website, StrikeZoneLaserTag.com.
Are you looking for real talk on love, marriage, parenting, and relationships? Join us every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. for Family Matters, a brand new show on Praise 87.9 FM. Hosted by Dwayne Uter, alongside Dr. Cheyenne O'Connor, a licensed clinical psychologist and relationship expert. We'll tackle the real issues that families face. Straight talk, expert advice, and live call-ins. Got questions? We've got answers. Tune in and let's build stronger families together. Family Matters, this and every Thursday on Praise 87.9 FM.
Welcome back. Now I see we have one family. A big family here.
Yeah, we have the Institute for Essential Care family. All right.
You want to introduce them?
Oh yeah, sure. So right beside me here is Sophia. Many of you may be familiar with the voice of Sophia. She's on the radio quite often. Sophia Hamilton is our child psychologist, educational psychologist at the Institute for Essential Care, doing a fantastic job. She has a special touch when it comes to children. I've seen her at work, does fantastic work with those little ones, and so we're happy to have her as part of the Institute of Essential Care family. And will be very helpful in when we reach the subject of parenting and some of the issues that young parents are experiencing with this modern generation. And of course, beside her is the expert,
Illustrious.
the most seasoned among us, Dr. Joan Latty, who is also a clinical psychologist at the Institute, and she does fantastic work. Her work is well known here in the Cayman Islands. We are delighted to have her. Over 30 years of experience in this field, both here in Cayman and in Jamaica. And it's just a pleasure having her with us at the Institute for Essential Care and with us here this morning. And I'm sure she'll be happy to take some of the questions, the hard-hitting questions.
Let me just invite persons to call as we go along.
Sure.
945-9029. That's 945-9029. Or you could send me a WhatsApp, 517-1122, if you have questions as we go along. Pastor Colonel, we were talking about family and how God designed it.
Yes.
So we saw how God designed it. It kind of a little different for us now. Like, we don't have our parents say, "This is your wife,"
Right.
or "This is your husband." We have to take on.
Yeah.
How do you start?
Yeah.
Where does it start?
And that's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning,
Yes.
it was not so.
No. God, Adam just wake up and there was a perfect girlfriend.
Right. So it's in the beginning, God found a wife and gave it to Adam.
Yeah.
He gave her to Adam.
Yes.
And if you read Bible, that
Yes.
same pattern continued in Bible,
Yes.
where the father would look a wife for the son. If you remember Abraham,
Yeah.
looking a wife for Isaac.
Maybe we should still do that.
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe some of the challenges we have in marriages we wouldn't have. And by the way, that's not too far in right now, because in some
I think
countries,
in India.
yes, in some countries,
Yes.
the parents play a very critical role
Yes.
in selecting, or if not selecting, approving
Yes.
the spouse that their children will marry.
Yeah.
In some African countries, in some Asian countries, the parents still make that final decision. So you can love anybody you want to love, but you have to bring them home, and parents will have to say yes or no. In other countries, the parents actually select the spouse, and say this is gonna be your wife or your husband. I don't know that will work in the Western society.
But somehow I find that in our instinct, we generally seek our parents' approval.
Yes.
Generally, like you'd bring a girlfriend or a boyfriend and introduce the parents and say, I mean, I have a daughter who is an adult, and she would go to Katie and say, but she wouldn't say to me.
Yeah.
She would just bring him.
Yeah.
And she know my facial expression. Right? And she know that that's a no.
Yeah.
Or that's a yes.
Because Dwayne, and for all our friends listening, because even if you choose a spouse without the consent or the approval of your parent,
Yeah.
it is my view that every child wants the support and the approval
Yes.
of their parent,
Because the family goes on.
Because the family goes on. They feel safer in doing that.
Yes.
Most children are conscious that their parents have a little more experience than they do.
Yeah.
And so if you choose a spouse that the parents give approval of,
Mhm.
you feel a little safer going forward. You feel a little more comfortable going forward. You deny yourself of the tensions that can be there when the parents are not in agreement with you. If anything happens and the parents were not in agreement, it's a little more challenging for you to say, I'm having some difficulty, unless the parents say, I told you so. So within that context, I still would strongly recommend,
Yes.
even today, that when you choose your spouse, I still strongly recommend that you take them home and let your mom and dad, be able to say their piece. You may not use their final word because people want to be independent, but you have to take that into consideration.
I've learned to understand two things.
Yeah.
That they call it intuition. Women have intuition.
Yes.
Right? And older women, meaning mothers,
Yes.
have more intuition.
Yes.
Experience,
And
Experience and wisdom.
Yes.
Yes.
And so sometimes your mother can look at the spouse, whether the male or the female,
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
something not right.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one is not the right one for you. Right? Fathers, this is the second part, don't really talk a lot. They don't have much to say like that.
Some
But
fathers.
Some fathers.
Right.
Right? And because they don't want it to seem as if they, especially when they come on to their daughters, they don't want to seem like, I'm trying to hold on to my daughter, right? But they might see some things and they don't say the words, and you see it on their face. And if you ask them, they'll tell you, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're going too far and they really feel it in their gut, they will call you aside and say, are you sure? They want to give you the choice, but are you sure? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think you're correct with that. What I'm fascinating about, and I am going to probably throw this one to Dr. Lati, what I'm fascinated about is that, because I know she has adult children who are already married.
Yes.
And so speaking of that maternal intuition, right, that tends to come out when their children bring their potential spouses. Dr. Lati, I'm sure you have had, not just as a professional in the area, but your own personal experience as a mom to your children who have already been through marriage. You want to speak to how valuable that intuition, and what is that like, and is it with all women, do you think? I don't know, because somebody may be listening and said, I don't remember feeling that.
That is a very good. Is it a question or a statement you're making?
Right.
But I don't think all women have it. I think it has a lot to do with the values and attitudes that you espouse, right? And when you see something going outside of it, I don't think it's really an intuition like that, but you see that there is a deviation from the values and the attitudes and what pertains in your environment, in your home. You have an eye for it, and you pick it up, And I think another good thing is when there is a relationship with your children,
Yes.
a good relationship, right? And you discuss it, you talk about it.
I was about to ask you whether or not the strength or the severity of that feeling, that intuitive feeling, whether the strength of it or the severity of it has to do with the bond you have with that particular child.
That's where I'm going.
Right. Because if you don't have a bond with that child, maybe you don't.
That's